Owen Lewis is a practicing child psychiatrist and psychoanalyst and a professor of psychiatry at Columbia University. He divides his time between New York and Stockbridge. His books include March in San Miguel, which came out last year, as well as a new book of poetry, Sometimes Full of Daylight, which is on sale tonight, and it'll be 20% off, and so will Myra's book. Owen's poetry has appeared in the Androtic Review, Peregrine, Four-Way Review, the Performing Arts Review, and other publications. His honors include a prize in Pat Schneider's Poetry Awards from the Amherst Writers and Artists Press. Owen is also co-author of the multimedia work New Pictures and an Exhibition, which has received many concert performances. I'd like to read a quick review by the poet Martha Rhodes, who had written about this beautiful new book. At any given moment, the poems of Sometimes Full of Daylight straddle the objective and subjective realms of the speaker's world at large. What we hear, taste, see, feel in this book may be of the real or may be of that inner terrain, that reservoir of the drinkable or molten that rises up from that place we call the psyche. Lewis writes deeply imagined poems, and as wonderfully complex and layered as they can be, they are always accessible to the reader, always navigable, always worth our while to read, always luminous. Please welcome Owen Lewis.
Thank you so much for the introduction and for the work you do for poetry and overseeing this series. I want to particularly thank Myra Shapiro for inviting me to share this evening with her. Myra and I are relatively new friends, but we were friends at first sight. It was Myra is a great inspiration to me. Like me, her first book came out at a later stage in life, and Myra has gone on to publish many books. And I just think it's a testament to rebooting your life and rethinking your life and the energy that comes from it. So I also quickly credit my son Alexander, who's the video, for the photograph on the cover. Susan, who has been such a help in every sort of way, the author photograph. This is a book of transitions. And I suppose it can be said of every book of poetry. It looks at memory and the role of memory and understanding past and present. And I hope to give you a sense of the arc of this book. And the first poem of the book, appropriately, is called Mnemonic, something that helps you remember. I dream in shreds, celluloid accumulating O's of film. In the display window at a department store, I am left to find a directory, a street, a province, pieces, syllables of an old address. I hail a driver to take me back to. Ribbons of Audubon, a language I once knew. The sea I ride. The sea I ride, my house goes by. Between the swells, the garden walk. On splitting planks, the Arctic tide, the tropics rush to sea. I ride the sliding banks, the slamming door, the splitting jam, my house goes by. A hand of thanks, my surf-sped bride must sing her tune, her lover swoon, the family strewn. The sea I ride, my house goes by. Philosophy. He schooled me to say, so what, to disappointment and hurt. To him it was philosophy, armor strapped invisibly, a gift to the young son from the soldier whose bad eyes kept him from World War II. Long car rides, errands for hardware, the blue smoke of his cigarettes stinging my eyes, the dialed radio playing Benny Goodman. Each turn, a rift of static, overriding the child wailing clarinet, syllables of never spoken, conversations hushed in my mouth. Not a single baseball statistic or dirty joke to trade with him, or even if he had a best friend. Only that his father, like a young prince at the Warsaw Opera, ended with a heart attack on a stairwell. How could I ever say this is disappointment, this is hurt? The trained answer rose in reflux, a taloned claw grabbing my throat. So what, you won't talk to me. But what balm he was to my children, gathering around him on the king-size bed, Florida's retirement dream, watching cartoons all Saturday afternoon, tickling their noses with his cannula of oxygen. They were divers in the sea of calm, and when a golf ball missiled through the window, the children plunged under his arms, then with his okay surfaced into the TV's aquarium, pretending now to explode, and the gaping fanged mouth of the broken window, lockjawed open, its 1,000 crystal teeth spit across the room, a scream never heard. So what, they sang as he pointed the clicker, a conductor's baton raising the volume of animation to high hootenanny. So what? How the family felt you're leaving, we waited, a bank of votive candles twisting in light. Psalm. Why are they pouring concrete into my mouth and eyes? It hardens as you hear these words. Wife helped lover mix the sand and lime. I have become a body plank, and they can do anything to me they want. What you hear are afterthoughts that don't stop. A friend hobbles me across the green pasture next to a pond, lays my head on a pillow of mud. Silver dragonflies circle my scalp, a new bloom among the lily pads. One ear still takes in sound, the snakes, the thrush in the willow weeds, even a voice whispering how I will be missed. Visit. Whiter squares on white, the walls stare. The unframed linger. I am disappearing, a ripple across the thresholds of what was to be. An open window, a final dusting, hand swipes across once polished wood. A breeze across the sill, angels hover, the table still offering. I have an idea I once lived here. The deeds of exit are signed. The next poem, Holy Rood Cemetery, takes place at a cemetery in the neighborhood of where I grew up. That's the starting point of this. At the corner of a town garden, a dahlia leaned over the fence, tall and black in its purple hue. I walked on, but coming back in a shadow, my hand was on the stalk and snapped it, stole it, a fist of the season's light. Remembering the Holy Rood Cemetery, after-school walks among the cherubs, the Marys, the Jesus children, Tuesday or Wednesday the flowers, not Sunday fresh, but still a day from fading. We avoided the hill where the Irish were buried. Their sons had not visited for years. A bagpipe dirge still clung to the dry trees. Cicada sawing hung in the air, gargoyles of guarded repose. Italians filled the lower field, lay close and shared stones. Portrait medallions fixed to their tombs watched us, even nodded to say, yes, go ahead. Our families will be back this week, so bring them home to yours. And until the month of the first blanket frost, prime mums and dahlias, late hydrangeas, found their way to the Lenox vase on the living room piano, a gathering of defiance. Advice. 6 weeks after his mother died, a friend writes how once he thought loss, the elbow patch on a person's story, the repair of overworn fabric needing just a button to gather in warmth. It's not what he imagined. He wakes to strange rooms where books shuffle themselves into the corners, socks visit shirts, and stacks of dishes appear on the couch. He wants to know if he should move. He wants advice. In my house, the furniture has not moved for a while. Inherited tables and chairs sit on new rugs. Fresh soups are served in faded china. I don't tell him yet how years later I find a shopping list in a drawer, or peeking through a book, a note with points of an unfinished conversation, how the curves of her handwriting still smile. Rendition. You may ask, rendition of what? Of something else, something that comes after, maybe the afterlife. Rendition. The cows have eaten their fences and canter before they collapse, stomachs torn. They are lost without their fences. Their splintered dung dries in our hands. We build pyres of the remains to fill the night with ceremony. It isn't necessary. We haven't noticed how luminous the chalk landscape under the bulging moon. The hard earth tilting, swelling in boulder currents, the mountains furled like winded sails. It is a moment of sleep into the quiet beyond breath. We no longer need to breathe. We wake up in beds with men and women, all beautiful. A lone bride lingers, an aisle without an altar. We throw keys at her, like rose petals, to homes that were or might have been. The sky itself in dark migration, some are waving farewell, some reach into the air for what has been stolen away. It is the same gesture. Now I'm going to turn to the final section of the book, a series of mostly short lyrics. Two things about this section. There are multiple views who are being addressed. I think you will gather from context who the views are. And a place I'm very fond of, Venice, Italy, appears in a number of these places. In my room, hour, the blue anchor is the sky that keeps my field from flying into the sun. In my room, hung with icy hearts, lost kisses burst into flame. Chance meeting. You, the one who came before, do not reach across the sidewalk in greeting. Do not put your hand to my back. Do not send your voice into my ear. Do not think you ever knew me. I listened your voice to my ear. I waited your hand to my back. I thought the children you carried the promise to know me. You there across the sidewalk, keep away. Piazza San Marco. Pigeons scatter, snapping sheets of wind, flecks of confetti underfoot. Couples hold hands to keep from flying away. An island in the Venetian lagoon. Today, on St. Erasmo, the poppies bloom full across the fields, even for one a bit colorblind. Farmers on bicycles, rear wheels straddled with bright strawberries, calling out for eating. The path through the marsh leads us to a cove, broken boats, blue hulls, yellow sterns, and again the red, color of passion, and ours not any less. But I wonder, together so much later in life, what becomes of us? And if love is once, I am happy, and if love is once, I am afraid. If I am 60, I am young. If 16, old. I remember you, I am confused, and if I forget, I am lost. Late elegy. I was holding your hand when you died, but there was a next time. When I slept through your passing, woke frantic in another room full of hospital glare, I waited for the fatal illness to be delivered to me. I should be thanking you. In whatever breath rattle you called out to that death, you took it into your lungs. Someone had to take it, to take what the green gown doctors were offering. It was you thanking me this time. Instead of grasping your arm like a lifeline back to my beginnings, I let you slip away, as if death were a body function that needed privacy for completion. This slipping away which told you after these many years how you and I have gone on. Still, here within me it still howls. When I should be full of daylight, when the sun ought to have pronounced its passion, the grief blisters through the clouds and reaches me. I am a lost bird whose feathers fall with the rain, Without you, a turtle whose shell dissolves on the path leading back to my own door. I am still here, but dark strangers surround me. Sometimes full of daylight, I link arms with them. Because I do not love you, I can love you calmly. Like the dogwood turns its leaf bud and cream petals to the April light, and softly they stir the air. I can love you because I can look away and watch through a window, listening to the silent voices singing in high-pitched keys, the whistles of dogs, the stretching trees, and rushing bats. I can look away and not make you the sun, as love can make a sun of the moon and stars of dark eyes. How lost and confusing the cosmic map, if constellations must be traced with held hands. I do not make you the sun, and can see you, puttering about the house, arranging your own natural order to your things. See the sweet surprise when you lift your eyes to me. I can see you, can love you calmly. Scale the fences. Who sleeps leaves his body in a pillowed mound. Scale the fences above the petals and flags. Walk tiptoe up into the dark, into the crest of an oblivious breeze. And the final poem of the book, Water Taxi, 4:30 a.m. Across the table, a splay of beans, peels of clementine leather dry, his open eyeglass case, her scarf. At the dock, a splash of the turning wake, and across the black bay, a tracing. Twin lights from the boat's stern blinking, one yellow, one white, into the night, these last syllables. Already my daughter, asleep against her young man's firm shoulder.